Ты видишь свет. Он изменит тебя. Пора распрощаться со страхом. Свет откроет истину. Сила прощения в самой душе. Тебя простят, когда ты сможешь сам простить себя. Страх заставил Зевса убить своего отца, Крона. Этот страх стал причиной Великой войны. Из страха Зевс пожелал убить тебя, своего сына. Страхом Зевс дурманит твой разум. Взгляни в глаза страху и срази его.
Боги Олимпа покинули меня. И теперь...
Ты не забыл этот день, спартанец?
Я не позволю тебе погубить ее.
Удачи тебе с этой жалкой потаскухой Пандорой. Тебе не изменить судьбу смертной. Ты обязан мне всем!
И делай это, спартанец!
Ты получил то, зачем пришел. Пощади меня.
Умри, спартанец!
Сегодня ты одержишь надо мной победу. Но потом...
Идем. Я покажу тебе дорогу.
Не слушай ее, Кратос. Хоть раз за свою жалкую жизнь не...
Все хорошо, Кратос.
Ёбаный настал. Ты вернулся.
Другого пути нет.
Ты куда съебал?
Чем больше рос страх богов, тем больше росла моя надежда.
А посрать ходил?
Сила, чтобы убить Бога.
дает силу. Вот почему мы с тобой здесь. Надежда — последнее оружие, когда все потеряно.
Пиздила, пиздила. Жуткая пиздила. Бля, ну и мясо нахуй.
Ты выполнил задачу, Кратос. Люди свободны от ярма Олимпа, очищены хаосом. Теперь они готовы услышать то, что я хочу сказать.
Оглянись вокруг, Афина. Весь мир лежит в руинах. Некому слушать тебя.
Иди, если хочешь. Но сначала отдай мне силу, что хранилась в ящике Пандоры.
Ящик был пуст.
Этого не может быть. Я вижу это в твоих глазах. Моя сила помогла тебе убить Зевса. Она все еще в тебе. Разве ты не понимаешь? Когда Зевс собрал все бедствия и спрятал их в ящик, я страшилась того, что будет, если ящик откроют. Поэтому я поместила в этот ящик самое сильное оружие из всех существующих в мире.
Говорю тебе, ящик был пуст. Пандора погибла напрасно. Она погибла из-за моей жажды мести.
Ты ошибаешься. Моя сила помогла тебе убить Зевса. Я сама это видела. Если только... Конечно. Открыв ящик, ты выпустил все самые ужасные бедствия. В лицо богам. Ты изменил их. Сам Зевс стал жертвой этих бедствий. Вот почему он был так озлоблен, так желал твоей смерти. Его поглотил порок, страх. Я думала, что силы, что я поместила в ящик, все еще там. Все эти годы я думала, что ты использовал темные силы ящика, чтобы уничтожить Ареса. Но я ошибалась. Ты взял из ящика мою светлую силу. Откуда у тебя сила, с которой не смог совладать Зевс? Сила, способная одолеть даже страх. Она скрыта в твоем сердце. Надежда. Она жила в сердце, в плену твоей вины и стыда за содеянное. Ты смог убить Зевса, потому что что-то пробудило в тебе эту надежду. Что это было, Кратос?
Надежда дает силу. Вот почему мы с тобой здесь. Надежда — последнее оружие, когда все потеряно.
Что это было, Кратос?
Я помню лишь то, что я потерял.
Поэтому ты должен отдать мне эту силу. Я знаю ее истинную сущность и знаю, где ей место. И я верю, что ты поступишь правильно, Кратос.
Не стоит.
Ты обязан мне, Кратос.
Я ничего не должен.
Я сделала тебя Богом. Я спрятала тебя от гнева Олимпа. Я помогла тебе отомстить Зевсу.
Все кончено, Афина.
Ты осмелишься пойти против меня? Опять?
Чё? Что?
Моя месть
Да нет.
свершилась.
Но он и пахнет.
Не смей!
Да.
А тебе нельзя там выключить розетку одну? Нет?
Глупец! Что ты
Так,
наделал?
подожди. Зачем? Да нахрена? Да хоть под жопой. Какая разница? По всей комнате все равно распространяется.
Надлежит мне. Никто другой не знает, что с ней делать. Ты разочаровал меня, спартанец.
Шаминя. Хрен в оче. Верни серого. Бля, титры пошли. Но это не значит, что он листает. Сейчас подойду. А чё он как пиндос сидит? Пиндосным носом все даже не говорит. А, я понял. Special Thing. Специальное спасибо. Я специально. Иди сюда. Тут-то. Я что потом не пишу. Всем нравится. Вакансировать. О, после титров это заставочка какая-то. Так что вот видишь, ты смотрел эти? А тут доп-контент. Снова пошли титры. Да ёбаный насрал. Рисуйте. Иди сюда. Дайте. Молодец. Оп, 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 оп. Хоть сюда. Иди сюда. Сейчас сушую. Ну ты жопа, срочка. Срочка. Жопа. Япона Маша. Так, поздравляем, вы прошли God of War 3. Доступно. Испытание, уровень сложности хаос, самый высокий. Костюмы, видео. Ничего себе. А чё? Пройдите испытание Олимпа, чтобы получить доступ к арене. Так, на свет лезут. Не допустите возникновения на экране более 50 противников, убивая их, пока их не стало слишком много. пройдено. Время игры 1 минута 38 секунд. Нанесено урона голыми руками. Так, убейте всех противников, не используя оружие по определенному времени. Аполлон.
First of all, welcome to our 4th annual Halloween costume. Beer drinking and brat eating and fun. It's going to be great.
I'm very happy with the way God of War 2 came out. Provided we hit our mark, I was pretty confident that our sales would be better than God of War 1, but I was rather skeptical that our reviews would be. God of War 2, I think at the end of the day, probably equaled, if not slightly exceeded the first, which I was not expecting, and it was quite satisfying.
I can't believe I'm fucking doing this. I deserve this one then. This is the final chapter. So I think big goals for me are to finish this off in such a grand, epic fashion, something that is truly befitting of what we've done, what we've set up in 1 and 2.
All right, this is for revenge story.
God of War 2 ended up being everything we ever hoped it would be, and probably a bit more. It got reviewed very well. I honestly feel like it was probably about as good a game as is likely to be made on the PS2, and I'm very proud that we managed to do that.
Oh, one big family here at SCEA.
Once you start something, you got to finish it. So that's the way I look at things. God of War 3 is going to be the conclusion to the story. My hope is to make the best effects I can on the last one.
When I think of God of War, I think of the best action platformer out there right now. I think other games and other companies look at us and go, how are they doing it? How can we make it like them? And that's rad, because I've totally been at the company where we looked at that game and went, man, how do we do that, you know?
My main hope is that it escapes the destiny of sequels as well as God of War 2 has escaped the destiny of sequels.
I'm going to be satisfied if we tie it all up and we can kind of close the book.
We're past the stage of figuring out what we want to do. We're now in the early phases of sorting out the how we're going to do it.
Next Friday will be my last day at Sony Santa Monica. The bomb was dropped. It was somber and everyone was quiet and no one said anything, and perhaps there was a tad bit of shock. It's killed me because I really do want to say something, but it's just nothing you can say is going to come across as anything but you're an asshole.
When I heard that Corey was going to leave was kind of annoyance more than anything. It's, you know, it takes a long time to make a successful team as much as a successful product. It's always a pain when a key person in that team decides to move on.
First emotion we felt was just shock. Didn't see it coming, didn't expect it. It's like dropping a bomb.
Well, it was disbelief, obviously. I thought he would be the last one to leave.
Incredibly bummed out, like very, very disappointed.
You know, you never really prepared for something like that, you know. They don't warn you very well either. They just kind of spring it on you.
It was kind of a bit of a shock. I never expected that Corey would leave the project, so. But once the initial shock died down, I couldn't help but being a little bit happy for him, so because he was getting to try new things.
It kind of puts us in a little bit of turmoil for now, but I think we'll work it out.
I'm glad he has the balls to stick to whatever it is that he wants, but I'm also a little pissed that he's leaving us in the lurch, just kind of like holding the bag.
I mean, I know I want to be here. If he needs to be someplace else, that's what he's got to do. And I think it's better that it happened at this stage in the project than a year from now, obviously.
It obviously is a very difficult choice and a difficult time and not a very happy choice to be making. But, you know, on the horizon, the doors are opening.
Of course, it's hard to imagine someone stepping into Corey's shoes. He's amazing.
Many people wondered whether we could do God of War 2 without David Jaffe, who did God of War 1, and I think we succeeded at that. I think we can succeed at creating a third version without Corey Barlog.
I think it's kind of neat, actually. A different director for each chapter.
I have chosen Stig Asmussen to take the helm.
When I became director, there was a very warm response from the team. I got a lot of tons of support, and I mean, so far everybody's been super cool. I look back on how Corey handled things and how Dave handled things, and I draw inspiration. I think the most important thing that I got from both of those guys is the fact that they were themselves.
I'm super excited about this. You know, this team kicks ass, you know, and it's said a lot, but this type of situation, the kind of garbage that we've been going through in the last month, as far as I'm concerned, this team's second to none.
But Stig is fucking amazing.
Stig's a pretty good leader, I think mostly because you're probably afraid of him when you first meet him.
The entire team really respects him. Everybody communicates well with him, and he's not unfair with any of his decision makings.
From my perspective, he is much more easier to work with. He is much more structured and engineer friendly.
One of my strengths is to try to lead by example. Hopefully that filters through to the rest of the team and they're able to approach their tasks with total excellence.
All those leads from the last game, those key people, they're in place. And that's really where the personality of the studio comes from. That's where the drive of the team comes from, wanting to critique every element and make everything that's in the game the best that it can be. It really is driven from the leads and from the culture of this studio, and that has not changed, even through the turnover.
So working on the PS3 is very, very challenging. It's a lot of new technology and a lot of new techniques are required to make a game on the PS3, which means that we have to learn some completely new techniques for writing our game code. It's also a completely new graphics processor, so we have to learn about those graphics techniques and work out how we expose them to the artist in order to make the best possible art and give the game the look that the art team is interested in. We have a similar set of problems working with the designers. People's expectations for games on the PS3 are much higher. They want to see, you know, more enemies and more complicated effects and, you know, more ragdoll physics on the characters and, you know, realistic looking reactions when you hit people. So yeah, there's a tremendous amount of challenge working on the PS3.
God of War 2, the team was able to throw so many things into the game and get things up and running and finding out, is that fun or not? The hard transition for God of War 3 is getting all that to work again because we have so much new technology that has to be built.
They're projecting their schedules and their tasks and things like that. Everybody is counted on everybody else to kind of make accurate predictions on what they can do. It's tough right now because everything's new. It's just so much more involved. That's very worrisome. When are we going to get to the point where we can say something's going to take 4 weeks to do and it's really going to take 4 weeks to do? It's understandable that nobody understands that right now.
PlayStation 3, we're able to push a lot more polygons, a lot more texture resolution and detail, so things are hyper realistic. I mean, they're so realistic now that we can actually see pores on skin and hair and eyebrows and nose hairs. You can see everything.
8 weeks.
At least 6 weeks.
Yeah, to make one. It's not like before, it's 5 days we can make one.
For me, it's not knowing kind of where the limits are. So super realistic now, and that takes a lot of time. Whereas before, we really had defined limits.
Yeah, it's exponentially more complex. And the other big thing is, this is going to be our first PlayStation 3 game, and we're expected to be able to beat games that some studios have released 2, 3, even 4. Gamers are expecting us to have better technology, better art, better visuals, better gameplay. Across the board, they expect it to be better. And that's pretty intimidating in itself.
We're going crazy with the detail. When it's done, I think it's going to look incredible.
You're going to see Kratos do a lot more subtle movement, more facial animation, things that the human eye just, usually takes for granted, but now we can include all those things.
The things that we can actually accomplish are starting to now really become things that are only limited by our imagination.
With the new hardware and the new system, we're able to kind of start pushing the player experience and creating like a much more kind of cohesive world. And like, the Titan before used to be in a cinematic and now you're actually like running on the damn thing. So it's like, whoa, we're getting there.
Titans, we've never done anything like that.
They're pretty crazy.
It's insane. The fact that you're going to be able to run around this like moving character and it's basically a moving level, it's pretty insane.
From a programming perspective, they're a big challenge. We designed all of our animation systems and everything to deal with a roughly 2 meter high character
Exactly.
where, if his little finger twitches slightly, there's not too much of a big deal.
Exactly.
But when your character's 2 kilometers high, then a little twitch in the finger suddenly becomes like a really big deal. The very first moment those were mentioned, I was like, oh, Jesus, this is going to be a big problem.
Yes.
But hey, I mean, it wouldn't be God of War if we didn't try something we didn't think we could do when we started.
Because I'm very proud of this game and you guys, I've invited a storyteller friend of mine to come in our walkabout. So Stan Lee is going to join us today and check out your work.
This is such a cool time to be just walking around the studio and looking at things as they're coming online. Every month, we do a walkabout, and it's largely for the team to kind of, review each other's work and, and really compliment each other.
It's a big studio now, there's like 80 people here, and really it's impossible to keep on top of everything that any given part of the group has been working on. It's an opportunity for everyone to see what cool stuff has been going on in the studio. It's a good way of making everyone realise that they're part of a big machine at this point.
Plus, everything looks better after you had a couple beers, so it helps to make your stuff look better.
Everyone's out to get Kratos. These are all Olympus, the gods, and they're all bad. All the gods are bad, except this guy who's tormented.
Yes.
He's great.
His line is, in the end, there will only be chaos.
And then the next game you do is called Chaos. That's a great sequel.
There you go. Zeus's brother Poseidon.
Terrific. Terrific drawings.
Hera.
Yeah. I love to write dialogue. Maybe we could try something new. A video game with lots of dialogue. I'm sure it would sell like a bomb. And I love the way this hand is there. Oh, gosh.
Oh, yeah, and then when he moves the hand, we'll like make that to kind of get destroyed a little bit and get all kinds of dust flying off of it.
This is one of the best things I've ever seen.
Cool.
That is beautiful.
Last thing Corey did before he left.
Okay, so long, fellas.
We're just giving each other props here.
Yeah. Cheers.
There's no such thing as a bad walkabout because, beer at work.
And also, Stanley rules!
Woo!
Just crawled up there.
It's Stanley.
Stanley!
I'm fine with it as long as we make it seem like it's in-game as much as possible.
I'm still learning every single day, and I imagine that process won't ever end. And there's so many things that you can learn from every individual on this team.
Stig is kind of man of the team, very easygoing, very casual, but he's also extremely intelligent, very thoughtful. I think the thing that's been successful for him is that people just want to help him out. They just want to make a good game.
Stig just keeps pushing along. He's got 2 brand new twins at home, and
yeah, it just keeps on
He's got this other baby, this big baby on his back right now, so he's doing great.
Since last Halloween, made a lot of progress. We've got the story of the game done. We've got the whole design direction completed. 3 months from now, we're going to be doing our press event.
Everyone gets to go home early!
The first couple times when Stig addressed the team, it was so clear how nervous he was. He would kind of stumble on his words, and he'd literally, turn red, like a stoplight. It was really kind of endearing. But then to watch him sort of evolve, and honestly, I think I was a little bit concerned that, our game director is our public face. And we actually gave him, some media training. And Stig actually asking people, he says, honestly, I don't want to think about all this stuff. I just want to be myself. Is that okay? And they said, you know what? Absolutely.
That looks good.
Oh, wow. That's how tall Kratos is. He's probably closer to the size of this guy.
Will is our stand-in Kratos when Kratos isn't here.
I'm about as close as you can get.
We picked the venue and the location for the spot, and we brought all the media here. We have something like 60 people here from the media. I can't wait for them to see the actual gameplay. These guys are going to be thrilled.
Love Kratos. Kratos is hot. Be nice to see if he ends up a god or destroying Olympus. I do love the violence as well. The women are very beautiful in the game as well. I can't wait to see what new characters they've brought to us, what new enemies, and I'm really excited.
I also want the sizzle, Maybe we can focus it in a little bit more. We can play with that a little bit. Yeah.
The development team has worked so hard on this project, so it's really fun to see when all their hard work comes to fruition.
I'm going to get through the first couple slides up here, and then I'm going to start to walk around. Nobody has seen the gameplay outside of our studio, so this is going to be the first time. Want to get this over with.
I'm nervous, but I'm also excited about this. I think we've got something really cool to show. I'm looking forward to seeing people's reactions.
Can we play it?
This is our first big kind of press thing. There's definitely some nerves with that. Anxious. I'm definitely anxious. The best thing that could happen today is people think it's awesome. You know, it totally kicks ass. The worst thing that could happen today is that people just flat out think it sucks. I don't think that's going to happen, but you never know with these media people. What is the vision for God of War 3? We want to define this generation with this game. We're going to take a close look at him. I'll talk about some of the features that we're using on him. Here he is. We've got blended normal maps on him right now, so you can see the realistic muscle flexing. I would imagine that we've got one of the most advanced systems for that in the industry right now. The battle's in full swing. The god Helios is in battle with a massive Titan. And Kratos is going to launch into battle and start doing some damage on the grunts here. Now, Todd can easily just grab one of the grunts by pressing circle, and if he continues pressing circle, he can beat the crap out of him. But if he presses triangle, then he can rip them apart. If he presses X, then he can throw them. And one more move, square, uses it as a battering ram, and then he can take it, mash circle, smash his head against the wall. And all these moves are interchangeable. Meet our latest AI, the Chimera. Part snake, part goat, part lion. Todd has just unleashed the cestus on him, and you can see it's a brawling weapon. Now, the way the Chimera works is it's a 3-stage enemy. First, you fight the snake stage, and then it changes its stance, and you fight the lion stage. We're really having fun with gore on this game. Entering the Cyclops. Every action that the Cyclops makes is a direct reaction from the pain that Kratos is inflicting on him. Well, that's our newest upgrade, the Helios head. It can be used to reveal secrets. Todd has now found the door of Eos. Another thing the Helios head can be used as is a lantern in darkened areas. This is our newest form of travel in God of War, Icarus Ascension. Todd now has full flight controls over Kratos and basically dodging gameplay. That's it.
Oh my God, fantastic. It was great.
It was phenomenal. I mean, like, I thought that I had a concept of what it would be like, but this pretty much blew everything completely out of the water.
We're putting a lot into this game. I said I think this game needs to be a defining game for this generation, and I truly believe it will be. I can't comment on what the future holds for the series because, you know, I'm focused on God of War 3 right now, but this is God of War is, this is it. This is the end of the story. We got a lot of work to do, so there's no time for relaxing, that's for sure. E3 is obviously a big thing. We got to get this playable to the public, what we just showed on the demo here. We're in pretty good shape for that, but we got to get the game done. We still got a lot of work left to do.
Right now for E3, pretty nervous about it. Nervous, I mean, think nervous isn't a bad thing. You know, you should be nervous. Your nerves should be on edge or else you're not going to get the thing done right.
It's kind of ironic that most people would have been happy with the reaction for the press demo, and we were kind of like, we could have done better. We've undertaken to basically change the rendering path between February and E3 to make it look much prettier and much more next-gen. We have this amazing capacity to never know when to stop. Hopefully it'll all come together. I think it will. It's looking very nice. We definitely know how to pressure ourselves.
This team sets the bar really high. We could settle for a lot less and probably be a lot closer to being done, but with this group, They're never satisfied. Yeah. We never do things the easy way.
Personally, I'm worried, but then I think it's good that I'm worried because that forces me to actually get this shit done.
Good. There's definitely pressure. Self-created pressure and then pressure from other departments just to get everything done. We're all just trying to do our best.
I think the most pressure we get is from ourselves. Every team is always looking at the other team's work and commenting and critiquing. So we're really pushing each other the most, I think.
It's a lot of back and forth.
The following week, it's absolutely nothing moves because we're going to need to take every freaking second to make sure it's stable and we are at frame rate. So, stay with that. You want to just...
The dead soldiers on the ground aren't in the poses?
Nope, and they don't have blood streaks and stuff in here.
Tyler's doing blood streaks.
Alright, so we need a book over here then. The inactive mode would look like kind of like it does right now with the book shut. The active mode, the book would open up and would have like a glow around it.
We have to open and close the book.
Yeah, there's a book for it.
We should have known that when we built it, because we didn't build it to open and close.
Wait, you need the book to open and close?
Yeah.
There's no limit to good ideas, but there is a limit to how many of those good ideas that you can actually implement. And even if you make decisions and you make progress on things, it doesn't mean that you can get all those things done.
We need to be able to tell people this thing is active now.
Can we remove it for E3?
Are you serious?
No, I'm not. I mean, there's a lot of other shit here to get done besides getting a book to have in an active states.
Let's say we don't do the open and close for E3. It would just have a glow effect and a light that comes with it, and that's it.
Do we just put a sparkle on it then?
Absolutely have any compromise for the schedule right now. I have to trust production, and I have to trust the fact that they're telling me that we can't get things done. So I feel like there's little things that have been compromised. I don't know that the player's going to necessarily miss them, but I sure am. It's part of making games. You don't always get what you want.
This seems like harder than the last time I played it.
We have to keep in mind that somebody from the street is going to be playing with those harpies. And I don't know, the way it looks right now, on 3 tries, people will throw down the controller.
The stuff we just went through, pretty rough. It's a little frustrating from the respect that it's been kind of at this state for a long time now. Kind of wondering when it's going to get fixed. The struggle or the challenge.
If it gets fixed this week, we're screwed.
This is sprint week, meaning we're making a big push this week to get a lot of work done and make some headway going into E3.
As far as crunch goes, we're not going to call it crunch anymore. We're going to call it a sprint, and then everything will be fine. So as long as we do that.
Change the name, it'll all be fine.
Tonight's the first night of
crunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
We don't like the euphemism sprint.
Fuck. I hate crunch. It sucks.
Right now, I'm creating a new build, and hopefully that will enable the rest of the studio to then continue working on the awesome content that they're creating for E3. They're definitely waiting on me. Definitely.
As far as my end, I feel I'm okay, but then at the same time, I kind of feel like I'm waiting on technology a little bit to kind of come online.
We just have a ton of bugs to fix. We're getting new technology right now, and the lighting's kind of broken, fog's kind of broken, so we're just trying to kind of survive, fix all our bugs, and get all of our tech in place so we can get this thing done.
You're sprinting now. Yeah.
Tonight's the first time the team has worked together as one, and there's a certain kind of level of excitement that goes into it and dread because we're still working, but it's a fun group to be with, and we're trying to get stuff done.
You know, we can only do so much, right? And we'll just try to do as much as possible, as quickly as possible, and that's it. Hopefully we end up with something pretty cool, though.
This is the biggest E3 we'll ever have. Everybody wants to still see if Santa Monica still has it.
Last 2 weeks have been very, very intense. I actually got here this morning a half hour before the shrine actually opened to deliver live code for what we're playing this morning. I didn't have that code until
yesterday afternoon. The Sony press conference is their big moment, 2 hours to like show all the new stuff they have. And it's going to be broadcast on live TV and web. And we're going to end the show with God of War 3. Anytime that you go first or last, if you open the show or close the show, it's an honor.
I guess we're happy that Sony seems so committed to our game. It's nice that all of our hard work over the last 7 years, really, because that's how long we've been working on the God of War series in total, is really getting the reception that it seems to be getting.
We're real excited that we're closing the press conference. It's a great opportunity. It's a great way to end. We're going to be live on stage playing real live code, so nerves are definitely high.
Like a lot of jitters.
Stig's going to be talking and I'm going to be playing on stage, so a little stressful. Got to take the edge off a little bit. Headlining scares the shit out of me. I've never done something this big, standing in front of 2,000 people or however many it is.
This is one of the most eagerly anticipated games of this generation. I'd like to invite Stig Asmussen to the stage to show you the first few minutes of the jaw-dropping God of War 3.
We at Sony Santa Monica Studios are excited to be able to present this live demo of God of War 3. God of War 3 is the final chapter in our fantasy trilogy, based on the dark side of Greek mythology. Now our design director, Todd Pappy, will take point on the controls, and we'll get into our demo. I'm really anxious. I'm really excited. This is a really important moment for the team. It's important for the game. I hope that we make the impression that we always strive for. One line. Amazing, fucking awesome. People really seem to dig it. This went well. I don't see how it could have gone any better.
Well, I'm kind of glad that E3 is back. It's pretty exciting. It's been a couple of years since there was a really decent-sized E3. It's always exciting to have your game here.
This is what we work for. E3 is like Christmas.
We've got 12 kiosks set up with God of War. We had a great time last night setting it up. It was actually, we got there, the Sony booth was relatively quiet. All the games were up, and the producers of another product told me when we got in there and loaded our code, all work stopped at the Sony booth so they could come play our product. Hugely flattering, big kudos to the team. Got chills just having that whole experience. It was awesome.
It was excellent. It was, disgusting and exciting all at the same time.
I waited an hour to play that game. When you finally get to decapitate Halo's head, that was like amazing. Didn't expect to see that.
It's pretty brutal. I mean, way more brutal than like the first two. Every new game, they bump it up a little bit, so it's definitely good stuff. I waited in line 2 hours to play. What can I say? It's God of War with unforgiving amounts of violence, great gameplay, kind of thing that, just spend all day playing, not call your girlfriend, whatever, who cares, right?
I'm super pumped to see it. Makes me so jazzed. So this is Christmas.
This is Christmas.
But it lasts 3 days.
We can't believe it's back, It's like awesome. Really good.
I'm so fucking happy that E3's back. I mean, it means so much for the industry.
Seeing people's faces when they play, we just ship it out to the store, so the team really doesn't see, people's reactions and just even the oohs and the ahs at the press event. It makes it all worth it.
Just seeing the people's faces. I mean, that's why I make the thing. I want to take people to that next level.
I think this is what excites the team the most when they get to see people's reactions. We work our asses off before this to just get the demo to be as polished as possible, and we're trying to represent almost a finished product when we're not done with the game yet. So by the end of this, we're so drained, put so much energy into it, that all this energy coming from the outside just builds us back up and gives us that ability to finish the game.
E3s was a huge milestone for us. A lot of publicity, a lot of great feedback and great exposure.
E3 was awesome. I have to say it went very well. Seeing all the fans and watching everybody play totally put us in a different mindset coming back from that. You really get locked up and don't really see people's reactions working on something for so long, and going and seeing people line up for your game, that's more than you could ever want, you know? It just kind of invigorates the whole team into coming back and working on something and wanting to put your heart into it and make it even better.
I think we did a good job with it at E3. And that shouldn't be our high point. That should be like our midpoint.
Alpha is when the whole game from start to finish needs to be in one bag. It can have placeholder assets, but you can fly basically through the whole game or walk through the whole game, and everything's represented in approximately the way that it will ship with.
Yeah, so ideally by Alpha we shouldn't go, oh hey, we need that extra bad guy, or hey, we're going to add a new boss.
Which we've done on other games, so...
But ideally on God of War 3, you know, Alpha will be, okay, all of our pieces are in.
And then after Alpha becomes Beta, and Beta is basically art lock.
I want to make sure that when I'm playing the game, I've got a smile on my face. You know, I've played God of War for the last 6 or 7 years of my life now. As long as I'm got a smile on my face, I think there's a good chance that that's going to translate over to the fans.
If you kind of take a look at this here, you can see this character that's the size of the Sears Tower, roughly. It's about 1,500 feet tall. It's a different kind of boss battle. Kronos is more than Gaia, is more fully alive, and you're more fighting on a character that's moving around. So this has been very tedious and challenging and time-consuming to put this together, but I think at the end it'll be definitely be worth it, and people will feel like they're playing something they never played before. Kronos will actually like thrust his hands forward and do a scrape and leave his fingers there, so that you can actually attack his fingernails. We'll have a breakable on the fingernail, and then the fingernail will bring up like a circle prompt. You'll grab onto that and in the CS move, and then basically do a struggle and then rip it out, and you know, it'll be kind of a gory, cool, memorable moment. We actually want to make this awesome. We want to make this gameplay super exciting. It's going to be everything people expect from what the Titan fight should be.
What are the big tech issues, Chris, that you need support on?
The only big tech issue we need support on at the moment is the issue with the collision.
The more static you can get him, the more precision you will get in your CS move.
The problem is that since it's a skin collision, the skin itself is not just a non-deformable object that you can rely on to not have change from one trim to the other. That's the biggest issue we can have.
What we're doing hasn't really ever been done before, and so a lot of what we're running into are issues with trying to make it as exciting as possible, but working within the technical constraints that we have and in the time frame that we have.
I would say that the rewrite of skin collision is turning into a very unrealistic proposition to get it finished before Alpha.
Time is the biggest fun killer usually as far as developing. It's where you come up with the most exciting scenarios, but do we have the time to put it together?
Fabrice and I will need to take a look at what is going on and what's fixable and what is not, and what we will have to design around.
With Kronos, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, and when you see it all together in the finished product with all the polish, I think it's going to be one of the most memorable experiences in gaming history. That's how I feel about it. I know it's going to be like that.
The murderer of Gaia enters my tomb. Kronos! I know it was you who killed her, Spartan. Who else could?
About a month back, maybe 6 weeks back after Alpha, we were looking at the end of the game and we felt like there was a lot of fighting and it didn't really tie into the story. We had a couple brainstorming meetings and we came up with this idea that it would be really cool to go inside Kratos' head. Because that's where the struggle is really taking place.
The story's really never done until the game ships. And we're always tweaking it and modifying it. But I really like working on the story.
Kratos is going to have this emotional struggle inside of his head. And, you know, really the object of this game is he has to realize that he has hope inside of him, the power of hope. And that's what he originally got when he opened up Pandora's box. He didn't get the evil things, he got the good things. And I think it's going to be really, really fitting end to the trilogy. Keep in mind, you know, we're very close to beta here, and this is the big stretch. And we really, really, really got to be zipping things up. Let's do it. That's all I got. That's all I got.
This is the third Halloween. I think for many it's probably a big relief. We're less than 3 months away from being done. It's been 2+ years. It's been an incredible journey. We've overcome overcome so many pitfalls along the way with change of personnel, project redesigns. Despite all that, we've managed to continue to elevate and continue to push ourselves and continue to make the best products we as a team can do. And I think God of War 3 is living up to that.
To complete the third one is pretty amazing. We always tried to hit the highest mark we possibly could, and I think we've done it once again with this one. So we're going to have to wait and see what the fans think, but I have really, really high hopes.
Completing a trilogy is something I never did in my life, you know, and completing something like this is very special, you know, something that means a lot to me.
Sentimental moment. This is truly one of the best teams I've ever worked with. I mean, across the board. I've worked with teams that were really strong on the art side, or really strong on design, or really strong on technology, but this is the only team I worked with that fires on all cylinders.
The team faced a lot of challenges. The interesting thing is that this team has always faced challenges, and it sounds kind of cliche, but they're really good at facing challenges.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
You know,
I mean, we've discussed a lot. Obviously, we've gone through a lot of different changes, and the team always, I mean, you can put it any better, but they always rise to the challenge.
We really sat down and focused what we wanted to, make good, and whatever wasn't working, we just kind of threw out the door and said, this is what we want, and that's what everybody focused on and made good.
Fans are going to be blown away. We're still getting surprised as far as how good things look.
The game's awesome. It's going to be good.
Been working with Kratos almost 7 years. I've learned a lot. He's taught me a lot. We've had some good times, but it's time for him to go to bed for a little while.